Hey everybody, I'm live and I'm talking more about the Tiger Woods rollover crash and allegations of DUI, driving under the influence, that have placed him in jail. If you're looking for a video that purports to show Tiger Woods being arrested and also tested, I'd like everyone to know that that video is from a previous arrest, not this one. So I don't think it's honest for those news organizations that have that DUI arrest in their clip to be showing it. It occurred at night, whereas this incident occurred at 2 o'clock today. And again, it was from something that happened many years ago as opposed to now. And even though it involves a DUI and impairment, we don't know exactly what Woods looked like because there's no cam to show us the and that's the difference. And that's the difference. So what we do know is that there was a rollover crash involving Tigers Land Rover, and I have an entire account from the police officer, the sheriff, that is based on a transcribed video, and I will read that to you here. So just before 2 p.m. today, the Jupiter Island Police Department, which is where the TMZ people currently are that made this, received a call of a rollover crash about 2.5 miles. Excuse me, let me correct myself. This is not TMZ writing this. This is actually the Marin County Sheriff that's giving the report. So the where we are is really Marin County Sheriff saying that. At any rate, which is where we currently are, received a call of a rollover crash about 2.5 miles from where we are. The the Juvenile Police Department, it really should say Jupiter Police Department. This is a typo. The Jupiter Police Department responded out there and found a pickup truck pulling a pressure cleaner trailer and a Land Rover, which was rolled over on the driver's door side. And we're going to provide you photos of that, the sheriff says. The sheriff continues by saying that the investigation started, and initially, right off the top, it did appear that the driver of the Land Rover might be impaired. And at that point, the Chief Ewing of the Jupiter Police Department called me from the Marin County Sheriff's office and asked for our assistance. It wasn't that the Jupiter Police Department isn't fully capable of doing these types of investigations, but quite frankly, the sheriff's office has a lot more repetitions in these traffic crashes and these types of investigations. Our investigation revealed as follows. Shortly, again before 2 p.m., the pressure cleaner truck was pulling a small trailer, which was northbound on South Beach Road. And it was pulling kind of to turn into a driveway. It was slowing down, starting to turn into a driveway, and the driver of that vehicle looked in his mirror and saw a Land Rover, dark colored Land Rover, overtaking him at high speeds. And I don't know those speeds, the sheriff says. And the Land Rover kept overtaking him. He saw it coming, talking about the Land Rover, so he tried to edge off to the side of the road, but this is a small 2-lane road, and there was no shoulder for the pressure cleaner truck driver to get off to the side of the road as he was trying to move to the side of the road and get out of the way of the Land Rover. The Land Rover overtook him at the last minute, swerved to avoid a collision, but clipped the back end of the trailer, the Land Rover did, and clipped the back end of the trailer of the pressure cleaner apparatus, and that caused the Tiger Woods' car, to be lifted to the side and then rolled over on the driver's side door north past the truck that had just avoided the crash So it's kind of like and slid. The individual driving that Land Rover was able to crawl out the passenger door of the car and was identified to be Mr. Tiger Woods. The sheriff said our DUI investigators came to the scene here, and Mr. Woods did exemplify signs of impairment. They did several tests on him. Of course, he did explain the injuries and the surgeries that he had. We did take that into account, but they did some in-depth road tests, and when it was determined he was placed under arrest, or determined that he was under influence, he was placed under arrest and taken to the Marin County Jail. At the Marin County Jail, and even on scene, we really weren't suspicious of alcohol being involved in this case, and that proved to be true in the jail. So Mr. Woods did a couple of breathalyzer tests, to make sure that he was had DUI. He blew triple zeros, but when it came time for us to ask for a urinalysis test, he refused. So basically, folks, Tiger, and I've been through this situation. Tiger Woods refused. Tiger Woods basically did a breathalyzer test, okay, and he blew triple zeros at the jail. All right, now they say that he had refused to blow a breathalyzer on the scene, but at the jail he did a breathalyzer and he blew triple zeros. In other words, no percentage of alcohol determined in a breathalyzer test. And I recall when I was headed back home from San Francisco, and this was back in 2006, and at that time they were rebuilding the west side of the Bay Bridge, and I went on the Bryant entrance area, and normally from that you turn to the left to see the oncoming traffic going onto the Bay Bridge and into the East Bay in Oakland. And I did that, but instead of seeing what I've seen so many times before, which is traffic, I saw nothing but sky. Yeah, it looked like they took out the bridge. And so I hesitated, or so I thought, and really slowed my car down to maybe 2 miles per hour, but I hit the bumper of the car in front of me. There was no damage to that car. I mean, with 2 miles per hour. So we both agreed to call the police, and the officers, SFPD officers, breathalyzed me not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now, on the second of the 3 times, and the first one, they came up triple zeros. The third time, the partner to the officer hit me on the back like that and said, "Okay, cough it up." And I coughed, and apparently then blew a breathalyzer reading. And he says, "Okay, now he's coughed it up," which I don't, that's not a legal thing to do, which is why, among other things, my case was reduced to what's called a reckless. At any rate, that's a very weird thing for them to come up blowing triple zeros and then suspect DUI. But nonetheless, what happened was that they said when it came time for them to take a urinalysis test, Woods failed, or refused rather, and so he'd been charged with DUI on that basis because he refused the urinalysis, which he should have taken anyway, but only because he refused it, not because they had any evidence. And this hasn't been said to, not because he didn't have any evidence that he was actually truly driving under the influence, but he refused the urinalysis. All right. And so they charged him with DUI with property damage and refusal to submit to a lawful test. And in the crash, no one was injured. Mr. Woods did not seem to be injured at all, and the other gentleman wasn't injured either. And so that's where the report ends. Now I understand there's an update to this that I haven't seen yet. So Now, Tiger Woods, in defense of him, given what has been reported, um, has now their TMZ has it, and they're showing him his past, but Tiger Woods has been under the influence of a number of drugs, and that came up in a similar case uh, back in, I believe it was 2021. He had got up that early that morning. He should not have been driving. He was going to a sponsor event. He was driving down a road that actually I've driven down, and it's widely said that you don't speed down that road. It is such that you can hit, this has happened with me, you can hit a very high rate of speed if you're not careful on the brakes. You get up to 70 before you know it. It's a curve, and if you don't know what you're doing, you easily find yourself where Tiger found himself on the side of the road. Okay, so but it was also found that he was not under alcohol influence; he was under the influence of the drugs he was taking, and it sounds like that could be the case here because he is known to have severe back pain, and that severe back pain has caused him to consume and be prescribed medications that make him, impaired to a point where he shouldn't be driving. Uh, but Tiger Woods does have this habit, for reasons best known to himself, of wanting to drive by himself. He's a billionaire. He can well afford a driver. Why he doesn't employ a driver is a question best asked of him. I have no idea why that is, but here we go again. So that's the skinny, folks, and with what happened with Tiger, it wasn't straight away a DUI. It was an accusation of DUI. They don't have evidence that he actually consumed alcohol because he blew up triple zeros in the breathalyzer. And then he refused to take the urine test. Refusing to take a urine test doesn't mean that you're automatically impaired. It simply means you refuse to cooperate with the test. But if they take his urine in the hospital, I believe he was, no, if they actually never did take him to the hospital. They should have done that because that would have given them the answers they needed. That's strange. Either they're leaving something out with a report, or they, in point of fact, didn't take his urine sample at the hospital, or maybe he refused it at the hospital. Whatever the case, this is a very strange report. It's not how it's being reported. Tiger Woods in jail after being arrested on suspicion of DUI is true. Suspicion. They do not have evidence that he actually was. Even now, it says, even my headline says Tiger Woods arrested in jail for DUI after rollover crash. It should say suspicion of DUI. That's the accurate description, because it hasn't been proven that he indeed was driving under the influence, and it looks more like he may very well have also been guilty of impatience. In other words, you see this, you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, because we don't know exactly where he was going, if he was going home. Maybe he was going to help his son with something. One doesn't know. Or maybe he was just leaving the house and he had to be someplace else. Again, we don't know. Whatever the case is that it was clear to me in reading the account that it looked like Tiger Woods was responding to be somewhere in a hurry. And he erred on the side of thinking that he could get around this trailer, this pressure wash trailer with this device on it. And guess what? He didn't. He didn't. And now they said that to say he looks like he's impaired is truly just a habitual judgment call. In other words, really, how does it look like he's impaired if he's blowing triple zeros on 3 attempts? 3 attempts, not 1, not 2, not even 3. He didn't blow anything in any of those attempts. So how can they say that he was impaired? All right. That doesn't sound right to me. That sounds fishy, very fishy. And today you have officers that are looking just to get and law enforcement, sometimes they're just looking to get the big catch. And they're just going to say something that errs to the side of them making a catch, regardless of the truth. But it looks like the truth is that that Tiger wasn't driving under the influence of alcohol, and may well have been driving under the influence of drugs and being in a hurry, and just got involved in a simple accident. But to say that it was DUI when it doesn't look like it's DUI is really wrong, because he refused a urine test. He refused a urine test. That's it. And it could have been they refused a urine test because he figured that, hey, the drugs in my systems are going to be flagged as causing him to be impaired. And I'm talking about the pain-killing drugs that he's been known to take, as opposed to alcohol. Because if you've got alcohol in your system, the breathalyzer is going to reveal it. If you don't have alcohol in your system, the breathalyzer is going to reveal that too. The weird part is where you get deputies, you get police officers like I had, and I'm not sure about Tiger, but where you get officers that say, hey, you've got to be under the influence because, well, I'd like to think I've seen this and I'd like to think I'm good. And, it actually inures to their advantage to say, oh, yeah, you were DUI, and they get the credit for it and all that stuff. And they get the credit of the kill, if you will, the catch in this case. That's wrong. And that system of law enforcement really has to be stopped. Awarding people based on if they caught someone having a DUI, forgetting the details of what happened. The details should always come first. You should always be rewarded for your story matching up with actually what happened as a law enforcement official. And where it doesn't, that's where the punishment for law enforcement officials should come in my opinion. Okay. It looks like, I think Tiger Woods is definitely guilty of clipping the guy, but doing so under the influence is at best reckless to assume that he did, and awful to assert that he did in the worst case. I wouldn't do that, and there are people online doing that. I wouldn't. However, I do think that given his history, it's a good idea for him to buy a driver's use in any case. He really needs someone to look out for him. He needs a security detail. He knows a lot of important people. I mean, like the president of the United States, I think, niece. He was dating Vanna Trump, I believe her name is. He's also got ties to the Saudi Arabian government. And through Live Golf, he's been helping them design with the golf courses. He has a number of golf course design contracts around the world. So Tiger Woods is a very important guy today. And it is sad to see that he still conducts himself as if he were the frat boyish, fresh-paced golfer of many moons ago, like 2005, when he was just getting started and making hay as an amateur. At any rate, we all have our mistakes. We all make them. I certainly have made mine. And who am I to judge? All right. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark ZennyReport.com. And God bless you. And God bless Tiger Woods.